St. Patrick was down in Tubberpatrick, in Kilpatrick, and he was stoned out of it. They didn't want him there. And I heard that from a school teacher that used to do all history and everything. And Maura Kelly and Mary Byrne and myself looks after that well. And we had a tree with, what do you call it on it, all those little...
Yeah, the relics.
Relics. Mm. We went down one day and the tree was gone. The tree was cut down. Someone cut the tree down and disappeared. So there was no more we could do. We'd go every year and look after the well. And we'd have a prayer service, St. Patrick's Day, every year at the well.
Mm. It's a beautiful place.
It's a lovely place. Yeah. It's very relaxing. Mm-hmm. And people have told me they've got cures from that well, especially for warts. So
it's a very spiritual place.
It is very
somewhere
spiritual.
You could just go and sit.
You can get that feeling when you're just sitting there. You can get a lovely, the calm feeling. And you can hear the birds, there's trees all around, you hear the birds singing, and it's beautiful heaven on earth now. It's lovely.
He knew where he was going, St. Patrick, when he arrived in.
He did, but they wouldn't keep him.
Oh, the motor, the tumblers, yeah. There was supposed to be a flat stone on the top. It's a big mound of ground. It's incline, actually. But there's a flat part on the top of it. And there was supposed to be a big flat stone on it. So this fella was building his house, actually, and he was wanting to make a flagstone in front of the fire. So I brought home this stone off it, and he put in part of the fire. And every night this old woman used to come and sit on the stone, and she told him to bring it back. So I got afraid and he brought back the stone anyway. So she never came anymore when he brought back the stone.
Well, when we were young, we would have went and picked the skiock off the ditch. It had to be a nice skiock, like nice shape of it. Something like a nice Christmas tree. It had to be the right shape and whatever. And then we'd get whatever coloured rags or paper or whatever, eggshells and whatever we could, and decorate the tree with it for Easter. And then we'd walk up and down. I think about it. We'd walk up and down then parading with our Maybush.
Yeah, you weren't supposed to give milk, you give away your profit. You wouldn't have any,
you wouldn't have any
good milk for the rest of the year.
Yeah, that would be alright, yeah.
So you didn't, you had to get it out before or something like that. But it was a kind of gone now, even in my time. But before that, in my mother's and father's time, I was in. Don't want to give you milk. You had to go the day before to get it, to be afraid to give it to you.
Yeah, if you gave anyone anything on the 1st of May, you'd be giving away your luck. You never gave some milk to a neighbour, or you wouldn't have given anything because it would be giving away your luck.
Years ago they thought some people used to go out into the fields and thought they were witches to take the profit from other people.
That's right.
If you seen someone in your land, there'd be certain families used to do it. They used to think they were able to turn into a hare and they go around through the cattle. And if you seen them in that field, I think they wouldn't have any good milk for the next year after.
And their profit, yeah.
They'd taken their profit from the cattle. So they were calling them kind of witches.
Well, the only thing I remember was on Good Friday with the eggs. You'd never have an egg without put a cross on it.
Right.
Mark a cross on it. Mm. My mother, if we did it, she'd say, throw that egg out. Mm. We always had to make sure there was a cross on the egg before we do anything with it. Mm. The minute we get an egg, we had to put a cross on it on Good Friday. And that always happened.
The Ahare River.
Ahare River.
Or the Pass, I think it's some calls it the Pass. We never hear tell of it now.
No.
But it's the Ahare River.
The Ahare River.
But way back years ago, there was supposed to be a boatload of students that were supposed to be murdered somewhere out off of the river or somewhere. And after that, there was always supposed to be a ghost ship used to sail up the river, a fully rigged ship, and it was supposed to be the ghost of the students that was killed on it. And it was seen a lot of times. And there was an old graveyard up there in Kilgormáin, and at night time there was always a light used to come down from the graveyard down to the river. And everyone seemed to see this light. No one ever went to find out what it was, but I remember when I was a young lad, I think it was the last nearly, they were showing me this light. And there was a fellow wanted to go look, see what it was, and my mother wouldn't let him. He wasn't hard enough to go look. But that was going on for years. Everyone just seeing this light coming from the graveyard down to the river and then it disappeared.
Let Mary tell you that one.
Going down where Lee Mellows used to stay with his aunt, my brother and a friend was going one night down the road and they saw this huge big black dog and it looked straight at them, big real red eyes, and they had were on a motorbike, the motorbike stopped and they couldn't start it, and then the black dog just disappeared and the bike started.
Well, Andy mentioned there that place down in Monica, Kilgorm, that was famous for the black dog.
Yeah, it was the black dog part.
The black dog, spitting fire and all sorts. Yeah, that's right.
There was actually a fellow supposed to be, he pitched a tent somewhere in one of the fields. And at night time anyway, he just got into the tent and next thing he heard a noise. And he opened the tent and this big black dog came into it. And he just walked around the tent and back out again. Your man didn't know he was supposed to be the big black dog that haunted one. He thought it was just a black dog.
Yeah, just someone's black dog, yeah.
No, my son was born with a, what do you call it, over from all in white, Leo. It's a special thing. It's only very seldom they're born with it. And they told me he never would drown or burn in a fire. And he was in the sea. Collier Cavanagh's 2 sons went in on a hearse, and the hearse didn't come back, kept going out, and it was up to there on them. And Leo had to go in to save them. It was all in the papers and all. And he called everyone on the beach to come in and hold his hand, and someone else hold their hand and all that. He actually got the 2 boys out and saved their lives, and he didn't drown. So I firmly believe it. A coil. They called a coil. He was born with a coil. It covered it all in like a white net. Yeah.
There was supposed to be the spirits that drowned the sailors. And if a storm was going to come, they used to give the other sailors warning about the storm coming. So they used to learn to be pulling in the ships. And you'd hear them shouting, pulling in the boats.
Oh, yeah.
So then the people used to know there was a storm coming. But now, when they disappeared, I don't know. But that time there was no lights or anything, so you're walking along by the sea in the dark and you'd hear these voices coming in on the wind. But I don't know what year they disappeared at. Yeah. See, when electric light come in, a lot of things disappeared.
Yeah, there's an awful lot of things disappeared.
Yeah. But they were supposed to be, the people actually said they heard them. That was it.
Always visit night.
Always visit night.
Yeah, we wouldn't have costumes per se. We would just find something belong to anybody and dress up in them, and whatever you covered your face with was your visit. Sometimes we might be lucky to get one, to be able to buy one, but
We could never afford it.
very
You used to have
rarely.
a sack,
Yeah, you'd
a
have
hole in the top of the sack and down over you, and paint your face with soot.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
all we could do.
yeah.
That's all we could do. And you walk out for miles, and the road would be slippy. You'd be slipping on the road and falling, and oh
You'd
gosh,
look a mess.
Look terrible.
Yeah.
Take it that long to get the soot
Yeah.
off your face and
Yeah.
dye out your hair and
Yeah. But
terrible.
there was
There's
no
no such
actual
thing.
Halloween costumes in them days. It
No.
were just wizards, and the more artistic you were, the better you were.
It's true.
Oh, the money and took.
Money took.
Yeah, it's a low fog that comes up along by the river. You get in the morning times.
Early morning.
And it must have been come down from the Irish, I don't know. And we used to call it a small shower rain, a she-bean. A rain.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or a she-bean, actually. A rain. That'd be a kind of a small shower coming in.
My mother always said, "My God, don't ever bring a hawthorn bush into the house.
No,
The flower, someone will die."
yeah.
And it did happen. Someone brought a white bush into Mammy's,
White thorn.
and a relation died.
Yeah, and woodbine is another one that
Woodbine,
was never
that's
brought
right.
into the house.
Don't
A
attempt to
beautiful
bring it in.
woodbine with a beautiful smell on it. You daren't bring it into the
Don't bring
house.
it into the house.
No.
And she gets so angry. She said, "Don't attempt to bring the hawthorn in. I don't want to see it." And we wouldn't look at it in the ditch, and that was all. We wouldn't take it down or cut it or anything.
I think you folly cows. Cows the name was supposed to folly.
Funny different families.
Yeah, any cow that died, that was the Banshee used to come and cry before they died.
Yeah.
And if you had her crying, you knew there was someone going to die.
And you'd hear the next
She was
day
always
or
sitting
next
up on
morning,
sitting up with a big comb combing her hair.
combing her hair. I know one place now, near me, there's this little bridge, and she's what we've seen there up 3 times.
Bellaburn's Bridge, no?
No, then you go down to Tommy Bones there. Yeah.
There was some kind of an urn or something found in the sandbanks off of Kilpatrick, or not Kilpatrick, but be going up to Kilbegna. There was cabinet children playing in the sandhills, and they were sliding down the hills, and this jar appeared, and it was full up of silver and gold coins.
That's nice. That's a nice pick-up, isn't it?
And that time they didn't know what to do, so I think the priest in Castletown must have been involved. They got him and said, could he do something with it? So I think they brought to Dublin some of the coins to see could they get rid of them, and they melted down more of them. I don't know what in them, but it was up to 300 and 200 something different kind of gold and silver coins in it. Someone must have buried them and forgot where to put them. That'd be only about a mile away from here.
About that, yeah.